Hello, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Chatting with me, DJ Will W. What's going on, guys? It's me, DJ William Ward, or DJ Will W, as you guys know, and we have reached episode 5. Episode 5, guys. Do you know how sick that is? We've actually started a podcast and now we're on episode 5 and we're nearly at 100 plays. So if you guys go over there right now and just keep streaming, just listen, and just keep on streaming. Share with your friends about this podcast. It's a quick 10-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute podcast with guests, maybe 40 minutes, depending on how long it is, obviously. Anyway, today, guys, we are talking about how you guys are feeling, and obviously we've got some questions that come up, well, some questions and maybe some issues in our inbox, as well as we're talking about university life. We're talking about how it affects you, what you learn, or if you learn, or anything, as well as mainly your mental health during university and after, preparing yourself for the real world, I guess. So let's get on it. So this first question is from, well, let's just call him Jack, because we don't actually want to tell his name, because, that's how it is, anonymous times. Anyway, so his question was how do I cope with my mental health at university? Well, so obviously I stayed at university. I did, I commuted for the first year, and then I stayed in private accommodation just down the road from the main building, or just across the road from my actual building, Campus House in Cambridge. So obviously university is one big monster at the end of the day. It either eats you up or you eat that up, and it's a process, like university, you have to take one day at a time, because as soon as I started university, I thought, oh my God, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, honestly, going into classes that you don't even actually know what you're doing, right? Because it's like you're in the lion's den when you go to uni, because you're on your own until you meet friends and whatever. But what I would recommend to you, Jack, well, we call you Jack, is that you make sure you keep yourself occupied at all times. Make sure, you're going out, meeting new people, as well as obviously doing your work, because they say first year doesn't count, but honestly, you need to pass your first year to get into your second year. And as long as you get all your work done, do it ahead of time, because I always left it last minute. I used to literally be in Campus House 24 hours, the last, couple of weeks of each semester, was the building was 24 hours. So I stayed in there literally 5 nights once. I went back across the road, had a shower, come back, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'll go in the evening at 7. So after work, I'll come in and then have a shower, get some food, take it with me to Campus House, start writing and doing a project. Because I'll do all the practical projects first and leave all the writing later on, because it was just one of those things that I did. It's kind of a good tactic if you're good at writing, and I was really bad, so I kind of messed that one up. But if to cope with it, you've got to get your work done on time. I know it sounds sad, it sounds goofy, it sounds nerdy, but you've got to get your work done on time. Second of all, you've got to stay practical. You've got to stay in the groove. Go to the gym if you can. Well, once this coronavirus is over, you need to basically keep your mind fresh at all times, and it's quite difficult to do that if you're stuck in a box room. Obviously I had an ensuite and stuff, but going back to the same old room, right? It's nicer than other accommodations, I'll give you that, but going back to the same old room and staying in there and just sitting in there all day and until into the night, and then going out, it's honestly, it does break you mentally. But what I'd say to you is always go out a lot. Well, you can go out, but I mean, go out and about, find new things to do, go out places with your mates, and just, if you're into music, produce some music outside, go to the studio, do what you need to do. But at the end of the day, I'd always recommend keeping busy to distract yourself. And that is how I struggled. Well, I struggled throughout the whole of uni because I didn't know how to overcome it. But throughout the last few months of university, I realised that if you keep yourself busy and keep yourself on the move and not sitting on your chair thinking about life all the time and all that stuff, then it can really help you out. And hopefully this advice helps you out when you eventually go to university. So I wish you all the best with that one. So moving on, our next inbox question that we have got is how to handle anxiety, in daily life. Do you know what you want out of life? As I don't, and I'm 20 next year. So obviously I'm 22. I honestly, when you turn a certain age and this happens, you start to become worried about what you're going to do with life, what you're going to do in life. What I would recommend doing is, what I do all the time is find something new. Like this podcast is a new podcast for us to do, like talk about, enjoy entertainment, as well as understand what people are going through and how you can relate to them. However, to understand why or what you want to do is you have to go the lonely road, stop going out at night, doing whatever, hanging around in your mate's car at 12 o'clock at night, because you're not ever going to get anywhere. You've got to put yourself in a position where you have a passion for something. I don't know, it could be dancing, it could be drama, it could be music. Like I produce music. Obviously I haven't been on the music scene much recently. I've been very quiet in terms of content, in terms of music. But I would recommend maybe, finding a hobby and then maybe a business. You could set up your own business. You're like a sweet shop, or, or your own textiles, or you're selling clothes, or you're selling products that you've made, like Jules, my mate Jules, he's got his own mixing and mastering business, as well as he's in a band. So he's obviously he's doing work, he's part-time, whatnot, and then he's found something new, different, because it keeps you occupied and it helps you to discover what you actually are in the process of finding out what you want to do. So I would highly recommend is find something that you are good at, or even if you don't know if you're good at, try everything, and then one will definitely stand out. I promise you that. And I hope that helps. I think, in my opinion, I've always been a bit silly because I used to play football a lot at school. I used to be in primary school. I used to be running, long distance running. That's all I wanted to do, run. And now I'm 13 and a half stone. Heavier. Well, not heavier. I'm just 13 and a half stone, and I'm a bit of a lazy bum, but I do 8-mile runs every so often, like every other day. Try to anyway. And I think uni life obviously didn't help with the beer belly and beers and going out and whatnot. But I would recommend, even if I didn't know what I was going to do, because I went to America. I, helped kids out, looked after kids, sports, music, whatever, in Pennsylvania, New York, whatnot. And I didn't want a job because I knew that after that I had no money. I'm not going to lie to you, I was broke. And I came back to the UK thinking, oh my God, this is a weird place. Like, it was different before I left. I was out there for, I think it was 3 months, 3.5, 4 months, I don't know. And I came back and I, confirmed my place at uni. So uni was literally just an extra period of time where I do work on the side as well as a part-time job and still think about what I want to do. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what I was going to do till, a few months ago, like when I finished uni. So if you need to go to the uni route and do that, then do it, because you meet loads of new people as well as getting a degree. A degree is good, but it can be stressful. Obviously, that I've discussed that in the past question, but I would recommend choosing your path wisely and finding something new for you to do. Find something. You got this, all right? I believe in you. Our final question for today's podcast comes from Ollie. His name is Ollie. He did disclose that I could use his name. And you know what? I can relate so hard in this question. So, money is a common struggle in most people, but especially at this age. How do I overcome the problems of not being in university and not having a great financial background? So, obviously, work hard. I completely agree with you. Like, there's a lot of people these days that get stuff handed to them, and learning discipline, learning the lessons of life, that you got to work hard or you're never going to get anywhere. If you keep getting stuff given to you, like money every bloody week or so often. I know somebody used to get like £300 a week or something just for doing nothing off their parents. I'm like, are you for real? Like, that sounds good, but discipline wise, honestly, you need to go get yourself a job. Obviously, Ollie, mate, used to work with you, so you're a good lad, and you've got yourself a good job for your age, and it's not bad money either. So that's good, as well as the financial crisis right now, as well as the coronavirus. You can't really do much about it, but all I can say is save your money, because price houses will go up. Everything will inflate like no tomorrow. And this is what I can say is save, save, and save. If you get your paycheck, right, let's say you're earning £1,500 this month or whatever it is, split that shit in half. Like, honestly, split it in half, or even 3/4, and put the 3/4 in the savings. Because if there's a problem down the road and you haven't got financial stability just that period of time, then you're going to be in big trouble if you don't have that little bit you can fall on to pick yourself back up again. So it's great to live on comfortably, but save the rest for a holiday maybe, or the emergency the emergency basket. It's like a comfy basket where you save yourself. Especially, there might be a second wave, you never know, of the coronavirus. I hope to God there isn't, but we've got to make sure that we're all staying safe, as well as our money needs to be kept safe. Like I just said, save it, save it, and save it. And it's very, very hard if you haven't got a job these days, because where else are you going to get your money unless you're dealing drugs on the streets? But I wouldn't recommend doing that. I highly recommend do not do that. And just make yourself an established person. At the end of the day, you would be more. You'll be so much more happy with yourself in 20 years' time, where you can say, "Oh, I worked for that," or "I've got." Let's say you've done a business idea now in 5 years' time, and now you're a multi-millionaire just because you worked your ass off. Like, when people were just sitting on their sofas doing nothing and not getting themselves a job, even though they're capable of getting themselves a job, and you've done it. So that's all I can recommend, is if you work hard and you save your money, like, I bet you £1 or more, 20 quid, that you will be the most successful person within your group of friends. And if you stick at it, then you've got this, mate, honestly. Because mentally, we all worry about money. We all worry about where we will be in a few years' time. We're all dying. Like, on a serious note, we're all dying. Like, we've only got like some years. You never know when you're going to drop off. So if you've got to live now and just do it, save as much as you can, and just make sure you're sensible, and just do you, man. Ignore everyone else and concentrate on yourself, because you got this. All right. Anyway, so I hope that has helped you out, you guys, everybody that I've mentioned, the 3 questions that I've got for this week's podcast episode. And I hope you guys have taken something on board, or taken a message from this podcast, so you can reflect it on your own life, because I do all the time. Everything that I read and read out on here, or even find out, is that I always take it on board. However, guys, if you have anything more to say or want to send your questions, head over to my website, djwillw.com, and I will try my best to understand your questions and relate to them, and maybe have some answers for you guys. But anyway, that's the end of this podcast, and I'll see you guys in another episode of Chatting with me, DJ Will W.